Hi, my name is Thomas Lassourd from the Natural Resource Governance Institute, and I'm here today with Ms. Roshelle Ramfol from Durban University of Technology. And I would like to ask you today, Roshelle,
Yes.
what sort of issues is South Africa facing in terms of taxing its mining companies?
In South Africa, we've went through a period where the mining companies had felt that they were not too happy with the policy recommendations. There was a recommendation of a resource rent tax, and they felt that that would be extremely unfair towards them, and especially with the declining commodity prices. So currently, we've got the Davis Tax Committee who's looking at proposals and investigating whether or not a resource rent would be an appropriate system. It was something that was implemented in Australia and it was recommended for South Africa. And we're going through a state of change, and so eventually, hopefully soon, we would have proper recommendations and clarity with regard to policy in terms of the tax structure going forward.
Do the people of South Africa support such a resource rent tax?
Well, if you look at historically, South Africa allowed the ownership of private mining rights. And so the people of the country felt that resources belonged to them and that they should benefit from it. And there were several other legislative changes where that was then enacted, and the resources now belong to the people of the country with the state as custodian. So I think naturally that the people feel that whatever system can best afford them a stake or an interest in to benefit from the minerals is what they would look at adopting, or rather supporting is the right word.
And given the current economic environment with very low commodity prices, is that why the mining industry is resisting such a tax? And isn't there like a middle ground that could be found to reconcile the positions?
South Africa has an old mining history. It's got deep mines, and naturally, with all of that, I think the cost factor is quite extreme compared to other new mining cities or countries. So there was previously a gold mining tax regime where the gold mining tax formula would look at adjusting to prices according to the grade of the ore. So that in itself was a system of actually taxing a profit tax. The country in itself, from the reforms that are currently on the table, they're looking at moving away from that and actually unifying the system with what the corporate rate of tax system offers.
And it seems to me that in South Africa, there's another issue that needs to be maybe weighted against tax revenues, is the issue of employment. How does that play out in terms of the decision of the country to tax more or less heavily the sector? Okay.
I think that's a buzzword. Is how is this going to be achieved? South Africa has extreme unemployment levels. And resources are seen as a mechanism to actually take the country out of that situation, primarily through beneficiation. But currently, the problem with beneficiation is that of power generation. You can't look at industrializing without power. And so until some sort of measure can be achieved around the issue of power generation, beneficiation is going to have to wait in line.
That's very interesting. And what part of this reform process are you personally involved in?
Okay, I'm currently pursuing a PhD, and I'm looking at the state's interest in mining. So in particular, the state has an interest in who does it issue its mineral rights to, who does it allow participation, how does it achieve a fair source of revenue out of the mineral resources? And thirdly, what does it do to actually convert a depleting resource into a permanent asset? So my research is currently looking at ways in which the state can achieve this.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for joining us. All the best in your studies, and I look forward to reading your research.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure chatting with you.